Since Spacies.
All right, last topic of the night. Had to end that one on a smutty note.
Classy.
Hey, we got me on here.
All right. This one is about lowering your expectations, but hear me out. And it was Uncle Chunt that suggested this topic. And when I first saw it, I said, nah, fuck no, I'm not talking about that. But the more I thought about it, I was like, okay, yeah, there's a topic in this. Blinx, the Time Sweeper. Now, for those who don't know, Blinx was co-created. Actually, no, he was created, by the co-creator of Sonic the Hedgehog. And that is Naoto Oshima, who actually follows me on Twitter. That was something that when it happened, I had to take a moment to just process that.
Yes.
But his latest creation is not so crash hot, Balan. I'm sorry.
Oh, what a train wreck, yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, we'll go back to his former glory days. Yeah, Blinx the Time Sweeper got announced to be available on Gamepass. And it's the original Xbox version, so the original black box, the Duke and all the rest of it, running on Xbox Series X or Xbox One. And it looks super awesome when you play it on the modern consoles now. Still in the 4x3, so that's a little bit off-putting, but I think you can bear with it. And it's the... How much have you played this?
I've played it a number of times over the years, yeah. Not like in the last 2 years, but on the original hardware. And when it first came on backwards compatible, I put my disc in and played it just to be like, wow, this is pretty damn awesome. It looks so crispy.
So this is the mascot that Xbox should have had instead of Master Chief, you reckon? Or
no way. Like, no. I mean, the game itself, like for those of you who don't know, I don't know, Snoogs, you don't have any experience with this character or this game, which is fine. No one does. But it's the character design, I love it. It's just everything about the character design, I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't change a thing. And if they remade it, I'd be like, no, don't you dare deviate.
Don't you touch it. Yeah,
don't touch it. It's perfection. I love the character, and the music in the game is a lot of fun. The art design, while some monsters are just like, what acid trip were you on when you put that in the game? Here or there's a lot of jank in it. I keep saying over time, the 3D Sonic games have a lot of the Sonic team jank in it. And this game, it's made by Artoon, who I don't think are around anymore.
No.
They made this game, and the graphics were amazing, I thought, at the time. The fur stuff, I mean, the fur, you have to note it, because back then it was like, wow, he's got real fur by the looks. And it's like the Conker's bad fur down
Conker,
Xbox,
when Conker first appeared on the Xbox console, the tail, it's the tail itself that really makes you go, holy crap, this is a huge step up from
Nintendo
amazing. 64. Like, this looks so different now.
Yeah. Well, even like that Blinx game had mechanics in it that no one was doing, because that game couldn't run without the Xbox hard drive on it, because you're doing these
time sweep. Yeah.
Like the time super aspect of your time, like reversing time and replaying stuff and replaying your character over the top, like a decoy kind of character that follows you around so you can repeat puzzles and stuff. It's a pretty involved game, and there's some later levels are just stupidly hard. And I couldn't finish it today. I just wouldn't have the time or patience to do it. But it's only hard because it's so janky, and that's where the negatives come in for that game. But it's such an endearing character and such an endearing world that they built in that game. There was a sequel to it.
Yes.
No one really knows about that either. It's kind of one of those under the radar, like, oh, there's a sequel, what? But yeah, if they brought that game back, like, there's been a call out for Blinx for years now. In different waves it comes and goes, but Microsoft don't own the IP anymore, which is interesting. I don't know who does. I would buy it if I had the money. I could find out who.
That's odd.
Yeah, I know, it's real weird.
I never knew that. Okay.
I would say it's AQ Interactive, which is who Artoon sort of folded into in 2010.
All right.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I say it's interesting because Xbox shared this out on They shared they had the hashtag Xbox 20 going around because it was some anniversary month or whatever.
Yeah.
And they shared Blinx Time Sweeper, and they never acknowledge it. They never acknowledge this game. It's just everywhere else in the Xbox circles that love the game. They do it.
I think Jeff Keighley even made a nod to this today.
Yeah, right.
And
Yeah.
So that's good.
Right.
So the whole point of me bringing this up was not. I mean, look, I like Blinx the character, and I think that it should have been more predominant Xbox character than it was. But I think Xbox's approach to mascot characters was, that's such a Japanese thing, we're not doing it, and they just walked away from it. But I if you haven't been to Japan, you don't know what I'm talking about. The mascot thing over there, everything's got a mascot. Even did you know Jetstar has a mascot in Japan? It's a fox.
Really?
It's a fox. Yeah.
Oh,
and you come back here and tell people that. Like, I think we bought one actually. We got a little plush doll, the Jetstar logo mascot. But here in the West, it's just not really that big a thing to have mascots for everything. But the reason why I wanted to bring this up is Gamepass the ultimate way of trying to dig out old games from the grave and give them a new lease of life, and get enough interest to perhaps make some developers go, this has got legs, let's try and see if we can market research the possibilities of doing a new take on this game.
100% yes. That's exactly what they're doing. They would have stats on everything, like how many people played this game, how long it took to get to that game, you know, or when they're scrolling down, and like the time it took from going to the top to when they stopped to scroll back up and download that game. They'd have stats on everything. This is 100% a method to test the waters on like who's actually interested to download this if we put it out there for people to download. Like, we've got all these people like me that are always tagging Xbox and going, give me Blinx, give me Blinx. And it's there's enough, I think, that finally reached the point around Xbox to go, all right, let's just see. Because Phil Spencer's mentioned a couple times, they don't have the family friendly aspect down yet. They don't have that kind of pocket yet. And they've got this IP in Blinx and an awesome looking mascot. He's adorable as fuck. You know, I love him. I want a figure statue or something. I just really
want a plushie. You can't get plushies.
Yeah, a plushie, right? Yeah. So this is like, I guarantee, a backdoor way to go, all right, let's put it up there and see who gives it a go. And you know, hopefully they can see past the jank of it. But I think there's enough reason there to say, like, yeah, maybe they will. I mean, Battletoads eventually came back. Killer Instinct came back.
Yeah.
You know, Banjo's in Smash. You know, they're all kind of putting their fingers in these things to see what sticks. But Phil's mentioned as much. The Game Pass model is to be like, so our single player point, we've got a lot of multiplayer stuff. We're not just doing games as service in future. That's not a mandate. But the single player stuff will remain. And Phil even mentioned they watch everything. Like how many people playing the single player games and what they like, and they'll do more of what they like. You know, that kind of marketing, I should say, and research. So I'm really hopeful about this. This is why I wanted to talk about it, because I want Xbox to have their child mascot like Ratchet and Clank. You know, PlayStation is Ratchet and Clank. Xbox should have Blinx.
They've got it. They just haven't bothered to get it out there. Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Like, they're sitting on a freaking gold mine. All they have to do is just give it to a half decent developer, and they've got the. I just don't like the way they reshaped his face to make him more squarish.
Nuts and bolts.
Nuts and bolts. Go back a little bit and revisit the older, more approachable look to him. But man, I don't understand why they've taken so long. Do you think that the people out there would like a new version of this game? Of course they would. That's why he's in Smash. That's why he's in Smash.
Snoogs, have you played? You haven't played Blinx, but have you played what are they called? Banjo and Kazooie. Have you ever played that?
Not to the point where I can remember any of it.
No, exactly. I tried it. I don't like it. I don't get it. I don't like Banjo and Kazooie. I just don't understand it.
What?
I mean,
okay. Let's stop it right there. Did you ever play Mario 64?
Yeah, I loved it.
Well, Mario 64 was essentially the same game, just about.
Nope.
They were trying to emulate Mario 64 when they made it. That was the whole.
Well, it failed. I didn't like it. Mario 64 is a superior game. Like the way they build their levels and the music and the like, just the iconography of Nintendo Mario in general is like, it's a lot. I enjoyed that. Even when I got 3D All Stars, I played 64. I was like, wow, this game still playability holds up. It doesn't look very nice, but Banjo and Kazooie, like those massive collectathon games, I can't. You know, I just nah. I'm good. I tried. What's the spiritual successor to that? What was they called? Ukulele.
Ukulele, yeah.
I got far enough into that because I was like, I really like the art design and the characters, but it's the same game, and I'm like, yep, I'm not really digging it, but I'm going to keep going.
So you got to also remember that this game was released, like when you're talking about Banjo-Kazooie 1 and 2. They were released in a time when a kid probably only got one game every 3 months, maybe 4. So
100%.
the whole collectathon aspect of that was to allow that kid to just milk the shit out of that game before they moved on. And I got it when I first started collecting games as a teenager and in my early 20s, and I'm talking about, you know, not the pirated stuff, but when I was collecting games, I couldn't afford games that often. It was only until I started working in the games industry that I was buying. I was Gamesman's #1 customer for quite a while when I was working there, and I'm not saying like I was their #1 most favorite. No, I mean I was actually on top of their their customer list for purchases. It was ridiculous.
It's pretty heavy.
We've had a few decent comments, by the way. In people were mentioning that Conker's Bad Fur Day is also on Game Pass. That's another game that got announced. Also, Emerald Ranger says, I love Banjo-Kazooie. I don't like any of the sequels, though. There was only one decent sequel, and you didn't like it. Okay. And Two Happy Gamers, by the way, welcome to the chat. Banjo is so good, better than Mario 64. So there's a few people out there. There is Lucky Tales. Yes, you're right. But that's just such a rip-off of Sonic's Tales. Like I can't get over how close to the market is.
Look, I mean, I see the appeal. Like when I say I don't like it, it's just because the game I didn't enjoy. I see the appeal in Banjo and Kazooie as mascots and characters, but the voice acting in it, or lack thereof, like the silly noises. I just can't. And like I can't go around collecting like 100 of this thing before I can go into this door. You know, like that's what stopped me from playing ukulele. And Ty the Tasmanian Tiger is another one. That's a collectathon like that. And I'm finding that now after replaying that game, where I'm like, God damn it. Oh my God, you're doing the things I don't like. But the mascot character itself is like, I love this world and the characters that are in it, but I'm willing to play it and put up with it. So I think that's where I'm differentiating there. But I'm willing to watch a video walkthrough for Ty the Tasmanian Tiger just so I can get the things, you know? Yeah. So I don't have to like bother looking for myself. But hey, if they chose to do Banjo-Kazooie reboot instead of Blinx, fuck yeah, man. Like, go for it.
So this is
a lot of fan.
I think this is an example of where Xbox is doing better in this regard than Sony are. Sony, I mean, they've kept alive their older IPs. They've done a better job in that regards. But when it comes to just revisiting older games, Game Pass is an excellent opportunity to give those older games a new lease of life, and I think that we're only just starting to see the beginning of it now. I don't know what other games though they can revisit. There's a few old games. I wish the Xbox Series X was 100% compatible with that Xbox library, because I got so many Xbox titles that I can't get access to because my Xbox isn't working, my original one. So, and it just would be super convenient to have the Xbox Series X be able to play them all. But hey, at least it's doing it. Yeah, there's so many things that they have to fight to get that to happen, which is so stupid. Midnight Victoria's just said, yeah, I have Xbox original Xbox games too. It was such a overlooked library, and I don't get it. I was into it at the time, but anyway, guys, thank you very much for joining. It's been a lot of fun. Didn't go for long, I know.
Thank you for the invite, mate.
But
No.
the whole point of tonight's little chat was to get, just a bit of a take on 3 different topics. I'll be back tomorrow night with Sonic Forces at 8. Have you guys got anything going with? Why are you laughing at Sonic Forces? How dare you?
Nope. I'm actually looking forward to Sonic Colors and coming back. That's the best modern Sonic game.
So what's wrong with Sonic Forces?
That whole era of gaming, and the platformers and all that sort of stuff, I completely missed all that.
Right.
It's like I started my gaming journey in the mid-90s, but and like as a more, this is what I enjoy doing. Before it was just a kid playing, and yeah, that whole genre, whether it be platformers or side scrollers or anything like that, I completely missed it all. So it has very little enjoyment for me now. Yeah. I was playing the Doom and the Quake and the Duke Nukem, and
nice.
That's where my focus was. So I say it all the time. I'm trying to get out of my depth. I'm playing a game at the moment called Death's Door, which is like a Zelda-style dungeon crawler type thing. And, that's something that I've never played before.
Sorry.
A lot of fun.
So we just had a donation.
Love you too, Uncle Chunt. It's nice to be remembered.
Blinx the Time Sweeper.
Yeah, we just had sorry, I had to be silent there to hear the voiceover. Blinx the Time Sweeper has donated $1. Love you too, Uncle Chunt. It's nice to be remembered, said the voice. Well, thank you, Blair. Yeah,
I
Blinx.
love you too. Oh, yes. I still have the game over there on my shelf. Yes.
Don't have the plushie doll because there isn't one. We got to work on that.
There isn't one. No, but Snoogs, I agree with you, man. It's an era that's hard to go back to. It really is. Like, some of those games just don't hold up. Those 3D platforms.
Oh, mate, I just flat out, like, so many people sort of say, backwards compatibility is this, it's that. Sony sucks because they won't do backwards compatibility. For me personally, I don't care. I go back and look at people playing games from the early 2000s and sort of like, this is fantastic. I'm reliving my childhood. I'm like, I played it when it was new.
I never realized Jim Ryan had a beard and glasses.
No. No, I like, when it comes to gaming, because I have very little time to actually game, it's what's new, what's going to blow my mind. That's my focus.
Totally
and
fair,
hey,
man.
it's and that's exactly right, man. It's one of those things where it's,
I get it that there is a large chunk of people out there that don't really care about baby graphics, as I heard someone call it. Last week we were talking about this, and I think they were talking about an old game, Metroid. I think it was Super Metroid. Oh, this game's really good, but it's got baby graphics. You just have to cope with the baby graphics. And Top Loader was just like. But yeah, I get that there's a whole bunch of people that wouldn't touch a Super Nintendo game or wouldn't touch a Mega Drive game because it's just too basic for them. Fine, I get it, but there's a large, I think it's getting bigger and bigger chunk of people as well that are just embracing those older games now and getting to see some of the older games for the first time because they missed it on the first time around, or they were just not around back then. So these older games are getting introduced to a whole new audience for the first time.
Exactly. Or if it's like you and I, Brian, and like other people, obviously in the chat, where we lived through those generations, and to us, we have all these like fun memories and feelings attached. Like nostalgia is a powerful thing. That's why we keep going back and playing those. But I find it very interesting that the new generations are going back and playing these old games. It's awesome to see, It's really, really cool. And it's just unfortunate some of them are very, very difficult for them to actually get. Have to pirate these things.
Snatcher on Mega CD. Good luck in getting a copy of that, for example.
Since Spacies.